Elijah is Ilyas in our and he has his disciple is going to be Ilyasa. It is an amazing story of Elijah and Ilyas. And we take it, our only source is from the Bible. But this is a source, all of it, except for one part at the end, is possible for prophets. So we can take it as a history, non-binding, inspirational history. And I'll tell you the story. Elijah comes not from one of the great families to the northern kingdom now. That is ruled by the worst Jewish king of all. His name is Ahab, and he marries a pagan woman named Jezebel. And he follows her around and accepts her religion. And she's a fanatic. She's a fanatic for her pagan ways, and they worship two main gods, Baal and Asher. She brings them in, and Ahab pronounces Baal as the official god of Israel. Elijah comes not from a prominent family, not from anybody source that they know, or from a priestly class or anything, out of the blue. And he, like Musa alayhi salam, he is commanded to walk right up to Ahab and give him the warning. And he goes right up to Ahab and he tells him, from this day forward, there will be no rain until I put my hands up. He said, what? Until I make dua, there will be no rain. Because you have taken Baal as your God instead of our true God. And he walks right out. You send for this guy. Go get this man. Police are chasing him. He's on the run. Allah Ta'ala tells him, go find a ravine. There's a ravine. There's like a certain area of land that has a small little valley, like a crevice. It has a ravine there and a cave. And you hide out there. And I will provide you food. So Allah sends birds to bring him the food, and he drinks from the ravine, and he worships Allah all by himself. A whole year passes. He's wanted man. So he can't leave. Everywhere they're hunting him down. After a year, the ravine dries up. And Allah commands him now. Go to Zaraphath. Zaraphath is the chief capital city of idolatry. And there's the city of Jezebel. That's where she's from. He says, go there. I have prepared for you someone to take care of you. And it is an old widow with a son. There's a widow there that has a son, a young son. And he goes there, and he's at the well. Again, you see, they seem to always meet the women at the well, right? Maybe the brothers want to get married, they find a well, right? Although this story doesn't end in a marriage, but it ends in something also amazing. He goes to Zaraphath, but he has to travel 100 miles in fear, just like Musa had to travel out of Egypt. And he makes it finally to the heart. Everything's flipped here. Everything is flipped. If I'm fleeing, why would I go to the heartland of the shirk, of Jezebel, of idolatry? If I'm fleeing, why would I seek protection? I can't protect myself from a woman who can't even protect herself and her son. And Allah tells him, ask this woman to give you water and bread. So now, this would not be something of muru'ah for a prophet to do, but he's commanded to do it for the sake of the woman, in the same way that the prophet would have been said, give sadaqah. Okay? So she says, I only have a small amount of flour left and a small amount of oil left, that I'm going to take this water, make the dough, dip it in the oil, eat it with my son, and then we're going to lay down to die. That's how poor we are because of this drought. So he says, trust in God. Get me water and bread and oil. So she invites him to the house. Now this part's questionable. How can a man go into another woman's house? So let's just suspend that part. But I'll just tell you the story as is, just to be neutral about it. But there is a lesson to it. She makes the dough, she makes the oil, and he promises her, if you give this to me, Allah will bless you so much, no matter how long this drought continues, you will not have any shortage of food, ever. And so she does it. She gives it to him. The barrel's empty. And then now he eats it in front of her. Now he says, make it again for yourself and your son. She reaches in, plenty of flour. She pours, plenty of oil. And Allah provides for them this miracle. Time passes. Every day she makes some bread, and he's hiding out in her house. Then her son, he's just a child, he gets sick. And he's about to die. And in fact, she comes running downstairs. His son is dead. She says, what kind of prophet is this? So you produced the source of life, a miracle. This is a good miracle. But you took my son? My son is dead now? How does this add up? Like, you're prophesying and saying we won't run out of food. Yeah, but there's no one to eat anymore because the boy's dead. So he runs upstairs and he starts making dua, heavy dua, and he puts his hand on the chest and the boy comes back to life. It's a story, right? This is how the story goes. She cries and repents. How could I have doubted God? You saved us twice. You saved us with the food, and now you saved us with my son. And she says now, this is the old world custom. You save somebody, he's yours for life. This boy, he's yours for life. That's the wisdom behind it. And accordingly, that is Elisha, which is we call Ilyas. Ilyas and Ilyasa. So Ilyasa becomes to Ilyas what Yusha was to Musa alayhi salam. And he follows him around. And what Sulaiman was to Dawood. And what Harun was to Musa, although Harun was older than Musa. And so he follows him around. What's the next thing they have to do? Allah says, your time in Zaraphath with this widow is over. Now you go back to Ahab and stand in the public square and announce a challenge. What we call mubahala. Mubahala is like, it's a challenge. If I'm right, then may Allah bring the punishment down on you. If you're right, Allah bring the punishment down on me. So what's the challenge? He announces to Jezebel and to Ahab, bring all your priests, just like Moses and the magicians, bring all your priests. And it's me versus them. We will slaughter a bull, put the bull on an altar, and you put a bull on an altar, and then we will see who the real God is. So Jezebel then goes out and gets all of the priests of Baal and Asher, and they bring a bull and they put it on the altar and they start praying and praying and praying. And everyone here is watching. This is like cinema for them, right? Everyone's watching. Now, what does Elijah start doing? He stands up on it's not his turn yet. He stands up on the altar and he starts mocking them. Hey, where's Baal? Wake him up. There are 450 priests. 400 priests, yell louder. Maybe he's asleep. Again, these demons, they're rububiyya, they're not gods. They are limited, so therefore they're not worthy of worship. And so he keeps mocking them for 3 days. They have no answer. Now 3 days, what's going to happen to the meat? It starts to smell bad. It starts rotting. They have to get rid of it. Now it's his turn. And now 3 days, everyone traveled, everyone's watching, everyone's listening. It's theater. So what does he do? He builds a higher temple, an altar. He builds it really high. So everybody can see. Nobody can say, I didn't see it. They're at the top of a hill, everyone's watching. They're at the bottom of a valley, everyone's watching from the top. Then he puts the bull on top of it, slaughtered bull, fresh. And he's raising, Ilyasa is helping him. He says, yes, go get me water. Get water. Poured water all over the bull. Like, how does that make sense? We want it to burn. He said, everyone, witness this water all over the bull. Okay? And he makes sure that the whole thing is wet. The stones. Put water all over the stones. Under it, so no one thinks that there's some kind of secret fire under it. No magic. Fill it with water. So it's an altar is flooded. and the wet bull is on top. And then he goes out in front of the people with Ilyas next to him. And he puts his arms up, just like Musa and Harun. He puts his arms up and makes such a ibtihal that Allah accepts and listens and hears. Before he finishes his dua, a huge strike of lightning comes down, burns the whole thing up and burns the stone of the altar. And it's such a big fire that people have to flee for their safety. Not only is the meat taken, the altar, the water dries up, and the people are so hot, they start moving away from it, and they all testify to Tawheed. They all testify to the God of Elijah. And then the rain starts pouring down. Pouring rain. And a mass repentance and tawbah takes place amongst the people. And Jezebel throws a fit. Yells at her husband, "You're a fool." He says, "These are your gods," right? They have a fight. And she sends all the assassins against Elijah. Then Ilyas and Ilyas, they have to flee. Now here in the Bible, it turns sour. Like they lose it. Stop right there. It's good for once, right? For once in your life, you got it right. But no. The story is, according to them, is that Jezebel goes crazy. She still wants it, and they have to flee. And thereupon, Ilyas teaches him more, and Ilyas is taken to a mi'raj. And he dies in the heavens. So he doesn't die a death on the earth. He's taken for mi'raj, and he hands the khilafah of the nubuwah to Ilyas. And Ilyas now goes to rehab these pagan people who had fallen into paganism. Now, he teaches them, and they become good. The people become good. Although Jezebel and the Ahab and the kings were bad, but the people become good. So that's the story of Ilyas and Yasa, the prophets sent to the northern kingdom. Right? In the biblical story, Ilyas goes out to the desert. He starts whining. He says, "God, what was the point of all this? We won the debate. Most of the people believed, but yet I'm out here. Why can't I tend to these people and raise them and be their imam and be their leader?" Well, how does that make sense for a prophet? So we're going to take that part and highlight, delete, and correct it. If you ever come upon the story, that part of it, highlight, delete. The other part, remember where we said we're putting it. It does not come from Allah and His Messenger from our sources or any authenticated sources, but it's a story from Bani Israel. We're allowed to read it, take it, say it to people to take inspiration, but put it at the level of history, right? Non-binding. But it's a great story, right?